Alright, good morning everybody. I'm going to do a quick July 2025 garden tour. I have a lot to do in here today, so I thought I'd bring the camera out before I get it done. We've got some weeding to do around, just a few here and there. So this once was the carrots. It is now another crop of green beans. They're popping up. I planted these probably about 4 or 5 days ago. They're coming up nicely. And then alongside that we have the fresh eating green beans, which, like I said, after this video I'm going to harvest a bunch. They're starting to slowly die back. Perfect timing to get the other bed started. Back here, the mint. We're going to do a cutting of mint today as well. It's grown like so crazy. This is the lemon mint, which smells delicious. Wish you could smell that. And then the fresh mint down there. Cantaloupes. They're reaching. That's a 6-foot fence, so it's almost up to the top of that. Looks like these ones are struggling a little bit, but we got flowers. You can see the males and the female flowers. We'll have some cantaloupe hopefully soon. And then we have the dry bed with beans. They're dying back as well. Lots of beans in there. Now that they're dyed back, you can see all the pods. We're gonna have a lot to do. Yeah, look at that guy. Oh. Let's not pick him. And then coming through there is the tomato beds. We've got tomatoes. I've picked probably a couple dozen of these big ones. Maybe more than that. And then the little cherry tomatoes. These were supposed to be beefsteaks. Planted them. I'm not a cherry tomato fan, but yeah, I don't think those are beefsteaks. They're all this white stuff that you see on the plants is diatomaceous earth. I had a little bit of an issue with some cutworms. I haven't seen them, but since I put them on. And this is the other side with the aromas. Yeah, I've picked a handful of these already. These are the mariglobes. There's a lot of tomatoes on here. I went through, and I planted the beans almost a week, 4 or 5 days ago. Pruned like crazy on these plants. Extremely crazy on these plants. Now you can, from a couple feet up, I got a lot off of them. I've picked off of these plants. Looks like we got a tomato that fell off. Behind the tomatoes here is the squash. I picked these yesterday, but you know how that goes. There's another one that we can probably get off the plant. And if you look closely, they like to hide. There might be another one. We'll set that down there for now. Onions. I'm going to have to pull some of these onions. These ones are, they're nice. The bulb size are nice. And go through and we'll plant something here. I'm not sure what I'll plant here next. And then my arch. Holy crap. It's filled out. It goes all the way around. I've harvested not many, but enough to can a little bit of cucumbers. I got one hiding in here. I don't know if you can see that. We'll get that one off. We got a couple babies starting. Just gotta almost like search. The other day I noticed this. This thing's massive. I didn't plant it. There's another one growing back here. I didn't plant those. I planted acorn squash, which if we follow this all the way over, I've got the honey butternut squash, and acorn squash is what should be on this side, but that's not what's growing over there. Put more peas down here, but it looks like overnight Cutworms got it, so we'll have to put some diatomaceous earth on that as well. Then looking through this massive archway, we have the sweet peppers. I've picked some. I've already chopped and put some away in the freezer. This bed as well over here. I have to come through and pick some of these. I've got my chocolate peppers. Like I said before, these plants are really good plants. So we've got lots of peppers. Made some with supper the other day. I got one stuck in there I need to pick. Sweet potatoes, again, not sure what's going on until we dig those up. And this bed with the 4 tomatoes on each corner. These plants are in a small, I didn't trellis them, which this is what happens when you don't trellis your tomato plants. They get a little crazy and wild. Now these tomatoes, they will turn yellow like that when they're done. So I'll probably pick those off. These are the black strawberries. I've already picked off a couple dozen of these. There's more up there. And that's what happens when you don't trellis them up. They bend over. Once they bend, you gotta let them stay. You'll end up breaking the limb off if you take it back. This plant was probably about 8 foot tall. It bent. It's okay. You get so much fruit off of this one plant. I've got fruit everywhere. Banana peppers, shishito plants down here. If I could pass this massive tomatillo, which, I mean, look at, it's crazy. Makes lots of salsa verde with that. I got a few. I canned about a dozen. It's Anaheim's, and I throw in some shishitos. I canned about a dozen. I think they're probably quarter pints of just basically green chilies. This is the bed that the potatoes were in. This tomato plant's still, it's volunteered, so it's still doing its thing. We're just letting it live. I planted the broccoli and cauliflower through here. And then beets through here, which I have to come out. I wanted to wait for them to get a little bit stronger. There's a beet right there. And then I'll go through and weed out everything but the beets. But they all, from what I can see, germinated good. Or well. This is the lettuce I planted out. Same time as the beets. I just have them under these because with those cutworms, I know they can get under it, but birds and whatnot, we're trying to protect them. In here is the kohlrabi, or no, excuse me, rhubarb, or rutabagas. I planted some heavy, some didn't even pop up, so we've got 2 there, or 1 there. So we'll go through and weed this today. That's on the agenda, the whole plan. This is all the second succession of cauliflower and broccoli. And standing back looking at this, some look really, really good. They're growing like crazy, and some are getting ate by, most likely, a cutworm. I had one here, if you see, that took a shit. There was one over there. Something's enjoying them, but we'll get that taken care of today as well. Cabbage, I've harvested most of the cabbage. I left a few here. We'll do something with it. Brussels sprouts. So that's the last time. They're looking good. I'll have to get down here. Again, today is cleanup day, so we'll get all the spent leaves off of there. Sweet corn. It's doing sweet corn stuff. We've got ears on everything. Some look better than others. That one's a pretty good ear right there. Like I said, these plants are massive. And this is like mosquito corner, so let's make this quick. This is the cantaloupe. I'm going to step over everything, but it's trelling just like I was hoping it would. Up and over. We're letting this do its thing. We got lots of vines out on this one. And I could see that the worms are leaving droppings. So I'll probably come out here and spray that. So yeah, quick tour of the July garden bed. It's doing great. And the green stalks here, last time I showed you, I just planted seeds for radishes. Those are really healthy. I have to come out here, harvest the rest of the herbs. My herb plants down here are, we'll try to pick what we can off. The sage looks pretty good. Oregano, it's got a seed. But we have like nice looking basil, strawberry plants. Not super impressed with these. Cabbage moss everywhere. Plants look nice in some spots, you know, minus a few. They're just not putting off strawberries this year. I think I've heard so many people say that. This last green stalk we have the carrots. They're all, I thinned them out the other week. Looks like some popped up since I thinned off last. There's a nice little spider or a bug in there. Down here, something already ate that, which is nice. But I do have celery growing on the bottom here. That's like a pink celery. Yep, and somebody got that one completely and that one completely, so that's a lost in that little section. So just another overview. Sorry, one of the ladies is laying. The shot of the garden. It's getting hard to see through everything. Another angle, which these massive tomato plants are going to take over the shot. So from my garden to yours, happy growing. So one more thing, just on a side note, I grow these beans, I think they're pronounced Kalima. They get big, and then the ones that I accidentally miss, that get a little, you can see all the pods in there. I leave those on the plants, and then what I do is I harvest them when they've dried out, and then I plant them next year. So the ones that kind of grow a little Willy Wonkus like that, I just leave. That's a seed for next year's growing. Just a little tip for anybody, kind of like how you do with the dry beans back there. Just leave them dry on the plant, and then you get your seed for free next year. That wasn't much of a harvest today. Enough. I could probably can maybe 3 pints in there, and I probably have another 3-4 pints in the house. So sometimes doing the smaller batches, it's less overwhelming. So I'll run the canner today, get those processed, and put it on the shelf. These tomatoes right here are called slicers. They're big. Alright, not too bad of a harvest just from one bed. We're gonna leave the rest of the ones that are just starting to blush on the plants. We'll pick them. It's not really the greatest time to pick tomatoes. If anybody's ever wondering, you want them to be stressed. You want them to be thirsty and hot. In the dead of the heat. It makes the flavor way better. And it looks like we might still have an issue. We've got, with the cutworms, we've got a tomato. So I'm going to go through and really look at my plants and find out where that bugger's at. I don't show these beds. These are my hot pepper beds. Volunteer tomato plant right here. These are brown jalapenos. And then I have some poblamos in here. And then I have Anaheims. I've picked a couple this year. They're growing nice though. And then these were kind of last minute tomato plant or pepper plants, along with the asparagus. I kind of forget what I even grew in here, but so far the plants aren't looking too bad. Now off to feed the ladies a snack. Come on, ladies. Come on, ladies. There you go. Get a tomato. The cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. What's left of that? They took them a good week. I threw a bunch in there. Yeah.